of a man who wore some delightful clothes, beautiful clothes. He had his hair combed. He walked out on the street with an attitude of arrogance. You know how some people walk thinking that they are it on earth and no one else is it, that they're the best. You know, they show off the clothes, the attire they wear. They walk like snobs. And they walk around as though no one's walking but them on the street. They own the streets. And the hadith continues saying that this person walked in this kind of arrogant manner. Allah calls the earth to swallow this man. Authentic narration. Allah calls the earth to swallow this man, and swallow, and swallow, and swallow. And the hadith says he will continue to be swallowed by the earth until the day of resurrection. Why? He did not heed the saying of the Almighty Lord, وَلَا تَمْشِي فِي الْأَرْضِ مَرَحًا. Do not walk on this earth in conceit and arrogance. A Muslim is not arrogant. A Muslim can never be the example of arrogance. Why? Because he lives his life according to his beloved teacher Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Abdul Muttalib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who was a living example of humbleness, humility, gentleness, tolerance. When food was brought to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would not say, yuck, take it away. No. He did not like it, he wouldn't eat it. But he would never sort of frown and say, what is this? But he would not eat it if he did not like it. He would not yell at anyone. He did not make anyone feel like he's nothing. He greeted the young and honored the great. He sat with the poor and needy. He made them feel that they are loved. Yeah, they are cared for, that they are important. Today, the poor people are thrown behind while the rich are placed in front. This is not Islam. It's not the way of the best of examples, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sat, mingled, ate, drank, mixed with the poor people, cared for the poor people, loved them. He made them feel that they're humans. Today, if they're poor, don't worry about this person is poor. Forget about him. Oh, go to this person. Choose this person. You might benefit from this person. It's all to do with benefit. Material benefit. That's all it is today. He tended sheep, the leader of humbleness. He sewed his clothes. He cleaned his house. He tethered his goat. He even allowed the slave girls to take him by his hand and walk him in the streets of Medina. This is the best creature on earth, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The slave girls, they used to love this, admire this. They would take Muslim by the hand and walk him in the streets of Medina as they were saying, look who I'm holding, Muhammad's hand. These are little slave girls. This was our example. An example, a beautiful example of humbleness. And this is our teacher. This is the way we should live. His paradigm and his standard should be the highest objective goal in our life. He mentions in a narration collected by a Muslim, it has been revealed to me that you should be humble to one another, boast not above one another, nor transgress against one another. He said, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسحر والحمى. The believers in their mutual love, mercy and sympathy are like one body. If one limb suffers, the whole body responds. The body of Islam, the Muslims all as a whole, it responds with sleeplessness and fever until that is cured. This is the way we are, the way we should be. We ask the Almighty Lord to put this bondage, this love, this care, this aid, this help amongst the Muslims, to strengthen us, to bring solidarity amongst us, unification, unity, loving each other, helping each other, aiding each other, thinking of our brothers who have been imprisoned for no reason. Do dua for them, help them. Wallahi, it could happen to any of us at any time. So do not think of yourself only when you go to sleep or when you eat or in your prayers. Think about your brothers and sisters in Islam. They are the gathering or the people of pride and arrogance. The gathering of those who are the beggars. On a day of resurrection, on a day of gathering, you will see people with scars or scratch marks on their face, and others with no flesh on their face. No flesh, just the bone itself, bare. And they'll be walking around. These are the people who begged while there was no need for them to beg. As it's mentioned, that Muhammad says to us all, that whoever begs while there's no need for him to beg will come with scars and scratch marks on his face. Bukhari and Muslim narrated the hadith of Ibn Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma, that if one of you keeps asking with importunity, in other words, persistent demand, will make Allah Ta'ala on the day of gathering with not a shred of flesh on his face. And Muslim narrated that Muhammad said to us all, that whoever begs just to add to his riches is actually in fact asking for a firebrand. It's up to him to increase it or decrease it. And a firebrand is a stick of fire. Begging, dear brothers and sisters, without a pressing need, a necessity, is a disgraceful crime that can lead a person to hellfire. And we all know that Islam teaches us that the upper hand is better than the lower hand. The upper hand is the one that gives, while the lower is the one that asks and takes. May the Almighty Lord make us amongst those who are from the upper hand and not from the lower hand. The gathering of the one who has two faces. Two faces, the backbiter, the slanderer, the one that carries fairy tales in order to lower, to harm, to hurt his believing brothers and sisters in Islam. On that day, this person, you will know him. You will know he was a two-faced person on the face of this earth. He will have a long tongue of fire. His tongue will be a fire on that day. As Muhammad said to us, whoever is two-faced in the life of this world will have a ton of fire in the next. And Bukhari and Muslim narrated that amongst the worst people on the day of gathering, the day of judgment, is the one who is two-faced. He says something to these people and then something else to those people. Meaning, subhanAllah, backbiting, slandering, carrying fairy tales, lowering the servants of Allah Ta'ala in the eyes of others. Why? Why? You oh, two-faced, evil, wicked person, are you free from mistake? Think about it. Are you free from mistake? As Ibrahim ibn Adham said, they engage in looking at the faults or finding faults in others before they look at their own faults. Are you free from mistake? Rather, you are full of deficiencies. You are lower than the person you are speaking about. How dare a Muslim speak, spread rumors, tell lies, hurt, harm his brother or sister in Islam? Surely, wallahi, this person did not know Islam. Does not know Islam. Prying into matters that does not concern him. Amr ibn al-As walked past a dead mule, a carcass of a dead mule. He said to his companions, you are better off eating from the flesh of this carcass than to eat the flesh of your fellow Muslims. Because when you talk behind your back of your brother and sister in Islam, it's like you are going to his grave after he's buried, digging out that grave and eating the flesh while it's deteriorating. That's the example. That's what you are doing. Another man mentioned something bad about his brother to another man. So the other man said to him, the one that was mentioned to, he said to the backbiter, do you fight against the Romans? He said, no. He goes, do you fight against the Turks? He said, no. He goes, the Romans are safe from you. The Turks are safe from you. But your brothers and sisters are not safe from you. SubhanAllah. Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah ta'ala, the great mujahid, the great predecessor, he said, if I were to gossip about anyone, I would gossip about my parents. They have more right over my hasanat. They have more right over my deeds. And the worst of all is the man or the person who has studied some hadith, probably one or two memorization, or some verses of the Quran, thinking himself, tabarakallah, he's someone, and starts describing or slandering the scholars, thinking that, oh, I'm not on that opinion, or that opinion is, it's no good. Don't listen to this shaykh. Subhanallah. How many people slander shaykhs, slander eminence, scholars, teachers of Islam? It is because you have learnt one hadith and you're on a particular opinion. You go and throw that shaykh's work out the window. What makes you know that he's right and you're wrong? Brothers and sisters, be very careful how you use this tongue. Be very careful. Be careful that you do not say a word, one letter against your brother and sister in Islam that will hurt or harm them. Wallahi, if anything drags a human being into hellfire, it's this. Leave that which does not concern you. Avoid, abandon people who worry about your own faults. Judge yourself before you judge others. Look at your own faults before you look at other people's faults. And you'll see that you need to rectify your life before you talk about other people's lives. Do not be two-faced. A funny story took place when a lady mentioned to her husband that her next door neighbor, a female lady, was two-faced. And she mentioned this in the presence of a 5-year-old child. So this 5-year-old child listened to his mother, saying that her neighbor next door is two-faced. She was saying this to her husband over dinner. So one day they went next door and they started for a visit to visit the next door neighbors. So the child remembered that saying of his mother, that the lady is two-faced. So the child, this 5-year-old child, could not conceive. What does she mean by two-faced? Has she got two faces? So he went to that lady that was spoken about behind her back. Like, this lady, the wife, was warning her husband, be careful what you say in front of this lady because she speaks in two different faces. So while they were visiting their neighbours, the lady assumed to be two-faced, the child went to this lady and started looking at her and looking, scrutinising her face. The lady got annoyed after about 2 or 3 minutes of being stared at like that. She said, what are you doing? He said, my mother said you're two-faced. I can't see two faces. I can't see two faces. And fadahaha. He exposed what his mother said about her behind her back. They say if you are in the wrong, they say if you commit something evil, the evil will be back at you as well. So both of them fell into two-faced sort of talks. The gathering of the people who take the war spoils, the booty, before it's distributed. Alhamdulillah, Allah Ta'ala has blessed this nation with what's known to be as booty or war spoils. In other words, when you conquer our land, the enemy's possessions belong to you after you have conquered that land. However, you are not allowed as a soldier to touch any booty, any war spoils until the Amir distributes that booty to you. If you touch anything before the distribution, this is called theft in Islam. It's called theft. And you will bring that which you took illegally on the day of gathering on your back. You'll be carrying it on your back or on your neck, as the hadith mentions. As the hadith says, وَمَنْ يَغْلُ يَأْتِ بِمَا غَلَّ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Whoever deceives regarding the booty will bring that which he took on the day of judgment. As the hadith was mentioned,